"Mom, please forgive me." The scream echoed throughout the house. I was hidden behind my bedroom door, just 10 years old, seeing my mother on my knees in the living room, begging for my Aunt Helena, as she held a white dress in her hands. "You don't deserve to use it, Carla. You never deserved to be my brother's wife," said Aunt Helena, with that cold voice that made me shiver. "Look at you, fat, ugly, without class. Roberto deserved better thing." My mother trembled, the tears dripping over her face. I didn't understand why she was asking for forgiveness, not why my aunt was in her mother's wedding dress in her hand. "Helena, I beg you. It's the renewal of our wedding votes. Roberto organized everything. I just want it." "What do you just want?" Helena stepped harder on the floor, making noise with the heel. "Shame our family again? Play a ridiculous role in the church?" I bit my lip so as not to cry. My mother was not ugly. She was the most beautiful woman in the world. Every morning she woke up at 5 a.m. to make coffee for my father before he went to work. I prepared my lunchbox with such affection, always leaving little notes saying, "I love you, little princess." At night, even tired of cleaning at others' house, she still had energy to help me with the homework. Mom worked as a day laborer in 3 different houses. Her hands were always dry from so much cleaning product, but she never complained. "It's for our future, love," she told me when I asked why she worked so much. "One day you'll study at a good college. You'll be a doctor. You'll have everything I couldn't have." On weekends, when she had no cleaning, she would take me to the playground of the square. We felt on the balance, and she told me stories of princesses who fought against evil dragons. "Do you know why the princesses always win in the end?" she asked, pushing my swing gently. "Because they never give up, even when everyone says they can't." My mother came from a simple interior family. He met my father when he went to visit some cousins in her city. Roberto was handsome, had a job in the capital, promised that they were going to have a better life together, and she believed. Carla was such a sweet girl, I heard my maternal grandmother tell the neighbors. He worked from the 12 years to help at home. When she met Roberto, she had just finished high school. She dreamed of doing nursing, but dropped everything to marry and come to the capital. But since we moved here 3 years ago, Aunt Helena made a point of remembering every Santo Day that my mother was not our level. Helena was divorced, lived in a chic house in the city center, drove an imported car. He had a women's clothing store, and lived bragging about how much money he earned. "Roberto, you need to understand," she spoke to my father in our kitchen, thinking I was playing in the backyard. "Carla doesn't match our family. Look at the way she dresses, how she says, 'What will my clients think if they know she's my sister-in-law?'" Whenever he came to visit us, it was almost every day, she looked at our simple little house with contempt. He ran his finger on the table looking for dust, frowned when he saw the old pans on the stove, sighing loudly when he noticed that the couch was faded. "Helena, we are trying to—" My mother was trying to defend ourselves. "Roberto has just been promoted, and I'm gathering money to change the furniture." "Honey, it's not just a matter of money. It's a class matter. You can buy expensive furniture, but you can't buy education. And look," Helena pointed to my mother's hair, always stuck in a simple ponytail. "This look doesn't match a man like Roberto." My father, who I was idolized when I was little, was just silent. Or worse, I agreed. "Maybe you're right, Helena. Carla could really take care of himself." "Roberto," my mother protested, hurt. "How can you say that?" "Don't get angry, love. It's just that, you know, Helena understands style. She just wants to help you." In those moments, I saw my mother wither, like a flower that does not receive water. She lowered her head, pulling her hair back, tried to hide even more. After Helena left, I listened to my mother crying in the bathroom. Once I found her looking in the mirror, trying to get her hair in different ways. "Mom, are you okay?" "Yes, my love." She bent down to stay at my height. "Mom was just trying a new hairstyle." "You look beautiful anyway," I said, hugging her. She squeezed me hard. "Thank you, little princess. You always know what to say to cheer up Mom." But I knew she wasn't well. She started buying beauty magazines, trying cheap makeup, straightening her hair with products that made her cough, everything to try to look like the women that Helliot was approved. One day she came home with completely different hair. I had gone in a cheap haul and asked to do the same as the TV actresses. It was terrible. The hair was dry, with a weird orange tone. "What do you think?" she asked insecure. Before I could answer, my father arrived from work. He looked at her and scowled. "Carla, what horror is this in your hair?" I thought you would like it. Helena said I needed to change the look." "Well, she was right about you having to change, but it wasn't supposed to get worse." My mother ran to the room crying. I was so angry that I screamed with my father for the first time in my life. "You're evil. Mom just wanted to look pretty for you. Low this tone with me, girl. You don't understand the adult thing." But I understood, yes. I understood that my mother was suffering, and that my father and Aunt Helena were making her suffer. Things got worse when Helena began to appear more often. Suddenly she was always there. At lunch, saying that he went to high. At night, when my father came from work, pretending to seek something that had forgotten. "Helena, don't you have a home?" I asked one day, innocent. "Of course I have, honey, but family is family. I have to take care of my little brother." She messed up my father's hair. "Roberto has always been the family of the family." My mother watched everything in silence, serving coffee for Helena, preparing dinner for her, listening to her criticism with a forced smile. "Carla, this food is very salty," Helena complained every time. "Sorry, Helena. Next me I whim more. And this house, you need to give a better organized. Look at this dust under the television." "You're right. I clean later." I wanted to scream, "Mom, send her away." But I was just a 10-year-old child. What could I do? That's when my father announced the renewal of votes. "Carla, my love," he said on a Friday, arriving with flowers in his hand. "I want to surprise you. Let's renew our wedding votes. To have a small party, just family, to celebrate our 10 years together." My mother was radiant. It was the first time in months that I saw her really happy. "Seriously, Roberto? Are you serious?" "Of course I am. You deserve it. We worked so much these years. The time has come to celebrate our love." Helena, who was sitting in the armchair, was strange, changed the subject quickly. That night, I heard my parents talking in the room. "Roberto, did Helena like the idea of renewal? Why wouldn't she like it?" "I don't know. She got a little weird when you said, 'Helena is only worried about spending love, but don't heat up. We have the right to be happy.'" My mother started preparing for the ceremony with an excitement I hadn't seen in a long time. He saved money for 2 weeks to buy a simple white dress. It was not expensive, but it was beautiful. She tried for me in our room. "How am I, little princess?" "Linda, like a real princess." She rode in front of the mirror, smiling. It seemed to have been again the cheerful woman I knew when she was a smaller. But then Helena found out about the dress. "Carla, what dress is this?" "It's for the renewal of the votes. Did you like it?" Helena examined the dress like a strange animal. Yeah, cheap, right? It's simple, but I liked it." "Well, if you're happy," Helena shrugged. "Can I try it? Experience?" "Yeah, just to see how it looks in me. I always wanted to know how I would be a bride." My mother hesitated, but ended up. Helena entered the room and left wearing the dress. He stayed there, admiring herself in the room mirror for about 10 minutes. Interesting," she murmured. And that's when I had a bad feeling, a strange feeling in the chest, as if something terrible was coming. But now, there in the room 3 days before the ceremony, the situation was different, more tense. Helena was holding the dress that my mother had saved so much money to buy. A simple but beautiful white dress for the vote renewal ceremony that my father had promised to do for 10 years of marriage. "Give me my dress, Helena." My mother got up. She reached out her handy hand. "Please, your dress?" Helena laughed loudly. A bad laugh. "Carla, honey, you haven't understood yet." Roberto changed his mind about this vote renewal clowning. He realized he made a mistake 10 years ago. The world stopped. I felt my heart shoot. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying that Roberto finally woke up to reality. He will divorce you. And when that happens," Helena lifted the dress at her body height, looked into the mirror of the wall. "Maybe I can't fix the damage you made in my brother's life." My mother got white like the wall. "You are lying." So why hasn't Roberto arrived yet?" "The ceremony was supposed to be tomorrow, Carla. Where's the groom?" Heavy silence. I heard my mother sob. "Helena, I always respected you. I always tried to be a good sister. In-law. Why do you hate me so much? Because you stole my brother's chance of happiness. Roberto could have married someone at him. An educated woman, with class, with money. But then you appeared, with this poor guy in the countryside, and he fell into his lip. I love Roberto, and he loves me." "Ammon?" Helena laughed. "Carla, wake up to life. Man like Roberto does not love woman like you. At most, there is a pity, penalty, and obligation." My mother staggered. He held the table so as not to fall. "Do you know something?" Helena folded her dress in her arms. "I'm going to take this dress with me. In the case of Roberto, change my mind about divorce and really want to do this ridiculous renewal. At least he will have a decent wife on his side. You can't do that. I can, yes, and I'll go. This dress will be much better on me." Helena turned to leave, but stopped at the door. He looked back with a cruel smile. "Oh, and Carla? If I were you, I would start looking for a place to live. This house is from the Santos family. Always went. You're just a temporary visitor." The door knocked hard. My mother collapsed on the floor, crying. I ran out of my hiding place. "Mommy!" She hugged me tight, trying to hide her tears, but I felt her body trembling. "It's okay, my love. It's okay." But it wasn't, and I knew. That night, while my mother thought I was sleeping, I heard her on the phone. "Roberto, please, answer. I need to talk to you. Helena was here today. She took my dress." Silence. "Hello? Roberto? Please don't shut down. Tomorrow is our renewal. You promised." More silence. "Roberto, I love you. Please explain to me what is happening." then the noise of the phone falling to the floor, and my mother crying until dawn. The next day, my father did not appear to the ceremony. It didn't even answer the phone, nor did he send a message. The church was reserved. A few people from our family had already arrived, but Roberto Santos had just gone. But Aunt Helena appeared on our door at 2 p.m, dressed all in white. "Where's Roberto?" asked my mother, confused. "Ah, he's in the car, waiting." Helena smiled. "Carla, honey, we need to talk." Roberto made a decision, and that's when I saw it. Helena was wearing my mother's dress, and there was something in her eyes that made me understand. Even though it's just a child, she dressed in white, thought she would take my mother's place, but I saw everything, and I was going to expose her. After Aunt Helena left with the dress, my mother was locked in the room 3 days. Just go out to go to the bathroom and drink water. I left food at the door, but she barely touched the plate. "Mom, open the door, please." "It's nothing, my love. Mom is just tired." But I knew it wasn't just tiredness, it was despair. On the 3rd day, I decided to investigate. If my father and Aunt Helena were plotting something, I would find out. After all, I was my mother's daughter. And my mother always said, when things don't make sense, it's because someone is hiding the truth. I started paying attention to the schedules. My father always arrived at work at 6 p.m. Always. 10 years ago, since I understood me by people, he had arrived at 6 in point. But last week, he had arrived at 8 at 9, once until 10 at night. "Where were you, Dad?" "Working until later, Princess. There was a lot of service in the office." But when he said that, he looked away, and his clothes smelled of a perfume that I didn't recognize, an expensive, sweet perfume, unlike the cheap perfume my mother used. In addition, the home phone rose at strange times. When I attended, the person on the other side turned off on time. When my father attended, he spoke softly, whispering, and always finished the conversation when he realized that I was around. One morning, while my mother was still locked in the room and my father had gone out to work, I decided to look for clues. I started with my parents' room. In the drawer of my father's bedside table, I found strange things. Receipts of expensive restaurants, places I knew my parents had never gone together, cinema tickets for movies that my mother hated watch, and a folded paper with a letter I didn't recognize. I opened the paper carefully. "Roberto, yesterday was wonderful. I can barely wait to be officially together. Soon you will be free of this miserable life. With eternal love, H. Helena." My stomach turned around. The hands trembled. I was only 10 years old, but I understood perfectly what it meant. My father was cheating on my mother, with his own sister. I burned the paper back in place and ran out of the room. I needed to tell my mother. But how? How does a 10-year-old explain such a thing? I knocked on her bedroom door. "Mom, I need to talk to you." "Not now, my love. It's important." I heard her sigh across the door. After a few minutes, the door opened. My mother had her eyes swollen from crying so much, her messy hair, still in his nightgown even though in the afternoon. "What is it, little princess?" I hesitated. How was I going to destroy her world even more? "Mom, do you think Dad still loves you?" She bent down to stay at my height. He ran his hand on my face with love. "Why are you asking this?" Because he's different. And Aunt Helena too." "Different how?" "They are whispering when they think no one is seeing. And Dad arrives late every day. And," I took a deep breath, "and I think they are plotting something against you." My mother was silent for a long time. Then she pulled me to sit on the bed. "My love, sometimes adults go through difficult stages. Your father is confused, but that doesn't mean he doesn't love us. But Aunt Helena said he was going to divorce you." "Helena says a lot. Not everything she says is true. So why did she take her dress?" My mother sighed deep. For a moment I saw something different in her eyes, a mixture of sadness and anger. "Do you know one thing, Sophia? I'll tell you a story." She lay on the bed and pulled me to lie on her side, as we did when I was smaller and had a nightmare. "When I met her father, I was an 18-year-old girl. I worked in a bakery inside, woke up at 4 a.m. to help make the bread. My dream was to study, be a nurse, take care of people." "Why didn't you study?" "Because I fell in love. His father was the most beautiful man I had ever seen. He came to spend a vacation in the city, saw me in the bakery, started talking to me. For 3 months, he appeared there every day just to see me." Her eyes were bright, remembering. "He promised me a different life. He said that in the capital I could study, that he was going to help me realize my dreams. So when he asked me to marry him and come here, I accepted at the time. And then I found that the promises are not always fulfilled. When we arrived here, Roberto changed. His family, especially Helena. They made me feel that I was not welcome. Why? Because I was different. It came from a poor family. I had no study. I couldn't speak beautiful like them. Helena always made it clear that I wasn't good enough for her brother." My mother paused, as if she was deciding if she should continue. "But do you know what happened a year after I married your father?" "What?" "I got pregnant with you, and for the first time since I got here I felt powerful. Because I had something Helena could never have. What? A real family, a baby, a purpose. She hugged me tight. When you were born, Sophia, I held you in my arms and promised that never, never would let anyone destroy our family. Neither Helena nor anyone else. And now I need to remember this promise. At that moment, the phone rang. My mother got up to answer. Hello? Silence on the other side. Hello? She shouted louder. The person hung up. My mother stared at the phone with a strange expression. Mother? Sophia, do me a favor. When I go out to the market in a little while, I want you to pay attention if someone calls. And if anyone comes here, you write it down, okay? It's okay. 2 hours later, my mother went out to buy food. I was alone at home, watching television, but paying attention to everything. 15 minutes after she left, the phone rang. I answered quickly. Hello? Carla? It was Aunt Helena's voice. No, it's Sophia. Oh, hi, honey. Where's your mother? It went out. And your father? It's working. How good. Listen, can you give your mother a message? I can. Tell her that tomorrow's party was canceled, that Roberto changed his mind about everything. Everything about it. Understand? I understood. And Sophia? Hey, don't forget to give the message, see? It's very important. She hung up. Tomorrow's party? What party? The renewal of votes had been canceled 3 days ago. Why was Aunt Helena talking about a party? 20 minutes later, I heard a key on the door. I thought it was my mother coming back, but it was my father. Dad, aren't you working? I decided to come to lunch at home today. Where's your mother? It was in the market. He looked around, as if he was checking if everything was in order. Sophia, I need to get some things in the bedroom. You're there in the room, okay? It's okay. He entered the room and closed the door. I heard a noise of drawers being open and closed, things being moved. I was curious. I approached the door and leaned my ear. I heard my father talking on the phone. Helena, it's all right. Yes, she is still believing it was canceled. No, she doesn't suspect anything. Tomorrow will be perfect. My heart fired. They were planning something, and my mother didn't know. Have you ever tried the dress again? It was perfect on you, much better than it would be in it. I heard steps approaching the door. I ran to the couch and pretended to watch TV. My father left the room with a bag in his hand. Sophia, I'm going out again. When your mother arrives, he says that I had to solve something at work. Father, what it was? Will you have a party tomorrow? He froze. Why are you asking this? Aunt Helena called. He said the party tomorrow was canceled. My father got white, then red, then white again. Helena called here? Mm-hmm. And what else did she say? That you changed your mind about everything. He took a deep breath, trying to calm down. Sophia, forget what Helena said, okay? Don't tell any of that to her mother. Why? Because they are adult things. You wouldn't understand. After he left, I wondered everything I had discovered. My father lying about where he was. Helena with my mother's dress. Secret conversations about a party that my mother didn't know it was going to happen. And then the chip fell. She dressed in white, thought she would take my mother's place. Helena had not taken the dress just to make my mother suffer. She had taken it because she was going to use it. She had taken it because she was planning to marry my father. And tomorrow's party was their marriage. They were getting married while they were still fooling my mother, making her believe that the renewal of votes had been canceled. When my mother arrived from the market, I was determined. Mom, I need to tell you something very important. What is it, my love? Promise you won't be angry with me? I promise. I found a letter in Dad's drawer. Her face changed. What a letter. A letter from Aunt Helena, saying she loves him, and that they will be together. My mother sat slowly in the kitchen chair. There's more, Mom. What else? Aunt Helena called today. He said that tomorrow's party was canceled. But Dad didn't know she had called. When I told, he was nervous. And I think they'll get married tomorrow, and they don't want you to know. My mother was silent for 5 whole minutes. I started to think she had not believed me, but then she got up, went to the room, opened my father's drawer and took the letter I mentioned. He read 1, 2, 3 times. Then she returned to the kitchen and looked at me in the eye. Sophia, are you sure of what you heard? I have. And you want to help Mom? I want. So tomorrow we go to this party. Leave with me. She took the phone and dialed a number. Hello, Donna Maria? It's Carla. Yes, I know it's late. Look, I need a very big favor. As she talked, I realized that something had changed. Her voice was firmer. Her way of moving was more determined. My mother had woken up, and Helena Santos had no idea what was coming. Donna Maria arrived at our house the next day at 6 in the morning. She was a neighbor of my grandmother inside, a lady of about 60 years old who always had a reputation for solving problems that no one else could solve. Carla, my daughter, she said, hugging my tight mother. I received your message. I came as soon as I could. Thank you for coming, Donna Maria. I no longer knew who to turn to. You did it right to call me. Now tell me everything, from the beginning. While my mother told the whole story to Donna Maria in the kitchen, I pretended to be playing in the living room, but paid attention to each word. And then Sophia found that they are planning to get married today, not telling me anything, while I stay here at home thinking I'm crazy. Donna Maria shook her head thoughtfully. And are you sure it's today? Sophia heard Roberto talking on the phone. He said, tomorrow will be perfect. And where would this ceremony be? I don't know. They didn't say. Donna Maria was silent for a few minutes, having the coffee that my mother had prepared. Carla, answer me one thing. Do you want to save this marriage? My mother hesitated. I don't know anymore. Roberto cheated on me with his own sister. How am I going to forgive such a thing? So you want justice? I want everyone to know who they really are. I want them to feel shame like I felt all these years. So let's give them exactly that. Donna Maria opened her bag and took an old notebook. First thing, we need to find out where the ceremony will be. Second thing, we need witnesses. Third thing, you need to be prepared for what comes next. After you expose them, your life will change forever. No return, Carla. Are you sure that's what you want? My mother looked at me, who was still pretending to play in the room. Donna Maria, I spent 10 years of my life trying to be good enough for this family. I worked like a convict, endured humiliation, lowered my head, apologized for things I didn't even do. And why? To find out that my husband is planning to marry another woman on my back. She took a deep breath. I don't want to be the poor thing to lower my head. I want justice. So let's work. The two spent all morning doing calls, writing things down in the notebook, whispering plans that I couldn't completely understand. At noon, my father came home. Carla, I'm home! My mother and Donna Maria looked at each other. Donna Maria hid in the service area. Hi, Roberto. My mother left the kitchen with a forced smile. How was the work? Run. A lot to solve. He looked around. You're different today. Different how? I don't know. More tidy. It was true. My mother had woken up early, showered, made her hair. A light makeup passed. I was wearing a blue dress that I hadn't seen for a long time. I decided to take care of myself a little. Didn't you say I needed to take care of myself? I said, but why just today? Can't I get ready for no reason? My father was uncomfortable. Of course you can. It's just, I don't know. You're strange. Roberto, can I ask you something? What? Do you still love me? The question took him by surprise. He hesitated a little more than he should. What question is this, Carla? Of course I love it. So why are you so far away? Why don't you come late every day? Why don't you want to talk to me anymore? I'm just going through a difficult phase at work. You know how it is. I know. My mother stared at him for a long time. Roberto, if one day you don't love me anymore, would you tell me? Why are you saying that? I just want to know if you would be honest with me. Carla, you're making me worried. Why this whole conversation? Because I've been your wife for 10 years, and I feel that I don't know you anymore. My father was visibly nervous. He started sweating, moving his hands. Look, I need to get out again. I have to solve something. What? A thing of work. On Saturday? It's an urgent problem. My mother smiled. A sad smile, but determined. Okay, Roberto, you'll solve your problems, and I'll solve mine. After my father left, Donna Maria returned to the kitchen. Did you see his face? It's nervous. I saw. He's afraid that I suspect something. And what he said confirms our theory. He will go out to meet Helena and hit the last details. How are we going to find out where it is? Leave with me. Donna Maria took the phone and dialed a number. Hello, Zeka? Is Maria? Yes, I need a favor. Do you still have that discreet car? Great. I need you to follow a person this afternoon. 2 hours later, Zeka, a gentleman who made nozzles to Donna Maria, called back. Donna Maria? I followed the man you said. He went to a church in the city center, St. Joseph Church. He spoke to the priest for about 20 minutes, then left. Thank you, Zeka. You're an angel. Donna Maria hung up and looked at my mother. St. Joseph Church, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. How do you know the time? Because it's the only time the church still makes Saturday ceremonies. And why? She smiled. Because I called by pretending to be relative of the bride and groom. And there? Confirmed. Wedding at 5 in the afternoon. Roberto Santos and Helena Santos. My mother got white. They will really do that. Go, and we'll be there. How? If they see us. Carla, have you ever been to San Jose Church? Never. I know well. There's a choir on the second floor overlooking the altar. We'll get in there. And then you'll do what you have to do. The rest of the afternoon flying. Donna Maria and my mother organized everything. Proper clothes, borrowed camera, small recorder that Donna Maria brought from the interior. Why the recorder? To record their confession. When you appear below, they will try to deny everything. But if you have recorded, I understand. At 4 in the afternoon, we prepared to leave. My mother was wearing a simple but elegant black dress. She had done her hair, passed lipstick, looked like a completely different person from the woman who cried locked in the room 3 days ago. Sophia, are you sure you want to go? I want to help you, Mom. It will be hard to see, my love. It will hurt. I know, but I want to be there when you show everyone who they really are. Donna Maria drove us by car to the church. On the way, she explained the plan. You will too go to the choir on the side stairs. I will be at the bottom, mixed with the guests. When you start the ceremony, Sophia, You will go down to the altar when the priest asks if anyone has any objection to the wedding. What if you don't have that part? Always have. And if for some reason you don't, you go down when the priest says, if anyone knows of any impediment. What if they keep me from talking? They won't make it, because I'll be recording everything, and because your mother will be filming from above. We arrived at the church at 4:30. There were some cars in the parking lot, including my father's car and the car imported from Aunt Helena. They are all here, my mother whispered. We entered the side door, climbed the narrow stairs that led to the choir. From above, we had a perfect view of the altar. The church was decorated with white flowers. Not a lot of people, maybe a 15. I recognized some relatives of my father's family, but not many. Probably Helena had told them that it was a small, intimate ceremony. At 5:00, my father appeared on the altar. I was wearing a new suit, cut hair. It seemed beautiful. If I didn't know the truth, I would even be proud. The song started playing, and then I saw it. Helena entering the church, walking toward the altar, wearing my mother's dress. The dress that my mother had saved so much money to buy. The dress that represented 10 years of marriage, 10 years of love, 10 years of fighting. Helena was using her as if it were her. I felt my mother shake next to me. She held my hand tightly. She's beautiful, isn't she? He whispered Helena to a woman in the first row, which I recognized as a family friend. Roberto finally found someone up to him. She is perfect for him, the woman answered. Much more elegant than the first wife. First wife? Helena laughed softly. Honey, that was a mistake of youth. Poor Roberto was deceived by an interior self, interested. But now he's free to really be happy. My mother's hands were shaking so much that she could barely hold the camera. The priest began the ceremony. We are gathered here today to celebrate the union of Roberto and Helena. My mother looked at me. It was the time. Go, my love. It shows them who you are. I went down the stairs. My heart was beating so hard that I was sure everyone was going to hear. I walked through the central nave of the church. Some people looked at me curiously, but no one stopped me. When I got close to the altar, the priest was talking. If anyone knows of any impediment for this union to be done, to speak now or to shut up forever. Silence. I took a deep breath, and I shouted, with all the strength that a 10-year-old can scream, I know of an impediment. The whole church was silent. Helena got white. My father turned red. The priest was confused. He's already married, I shouted, pointing to my father. He's already married to my mother. And she, I pointed to Helena. She stole my mother's dress. Helena tried to talk, but I continued. My mother is here. She saw everything. They are lying to everyone. And it was at this moment that my mother appeared at the top of the choir, with the camera in hand, filming everything. Roberto Santos! She shouted, with a voice I had never heard before. Do you have the courage to look in my face? The confusion was total. Helena tried to run. My father tried to hide behind the altar. The guests started screaming, but I got it. I saw everything, and exposed them on the altar. And it wasn't over yet. What happened next was one of the most intense scenes of my life. My mother came down from the choir like a lioness. I had never seen her move with such determination. The jumps hit the church's marble floor, echoing everywhere. Carla! Helena shouted, trying to recompose herself. What are you doing here? What am I doing here? My mother stopped in the middle of the ship facing the altar. Helena, you're wearing my dress, trying to marry my husband, in front of my daughter, and want to know what I'm doing here? The guests began to murmur with each other. I saw several people taking the cell phones to record. Carla, you're crazy! My father tried to intervene. You shouldn't be here. Roberto. My mother's voice was cold. 10 years, Roberto. 10 years I was married to you. Where are the divorce papers? Total silence. Where are the divorce papers? She shouted louder. Not yet, my father stammered. What isn't what? They haven't divorced yet? So what does that here mean? She pointed to the decorated altar. This is bigamy, Roberto. Helena tried to go out of thin on the side of the altar, but Donna Maria appeared blocking the way. Excuse me, Mrs. Helena. You'll be right here until we finish this conversation. Who is this woman? Helena asked nervously. My name it is Maria Santos Silva. I am a retired private researcher, and I have some questions for you. The father, completely lost, tried to calm everyone. Please, let's calm down. We have to solve this in a civilized way. Civilized? My mother laughed, but it was a bitter laugh. Father, did you know that Roberto is still legally married to me? Like this? What do you mean? The priest went white and looked at Roberto. Mr. Roberto, is that true? Father, I can explain. Explain then. My mother crossed her arms. Explain to everyone here how you thought you were going to get married again without divorcing. Explain how you and your sister deceived me for months. Explain how you planned it from my back. Carla lowers her voice. Roberto whispered. You're doing scandal. Scandal, she shouted. I'm doing scandal? Roberto, you're trying to marry your sister. A collective cry echoed through the church. Some ladies blessed themselves. A man in the second row spoke loudly. "Wait there. Are they brothers?" "They are brothers, yes," I shouted from the altar, where I was still standing. "She's Aunt Helena, my father's sister." The confusion was total. People shouting, people leaving the church running, people trying to understand what was going on. Helena finally exploded. "We are not blood brothers. Roberto is adopted. My father's family adopted him when he was 5. "Ah, so everything is okay?" my mother countered. "You grew up like brothers, but as they are not blood, can you marry? And yet, Helena, that doesn't change the fact that he's still married to me." Donna Maria approached Helena. "Mrs. Helena, can you explain how you got this dress?" "This dress I bought." "Lie!" I shouted. "This dress is from my mother. I saw when she bought it. I saw when you came to our house and took it." "Child knows nothing." Helena tried to disqualify me. "Child doesn't know?" My mother climbed the steps from the altar. "Helena, my 10-year-old daughter has more honesty in her finger than you all over your body." She stopped right in front of Helena. "Take. Oh, dress." "What?" "You heard it right. Take my dress." "Carla, you went crazy for good." "Maybe I really went crazy. 10 years holding on to your humiliation. 10 years listening that I was no good, that I had no class, that Roberto deserved better thing." My mother's voice was shaking but angry, not fear. "And now I find out that the best thing he deserved was the foster sister herself." She turned to the guests. "Do you want to know who I am? I am Carla Silva Santos. I have been legally married to Roberto Santos for 10 years. We have a daughter together. I work as a day laborer to support our family while he," she pointed to Roberto, "spends money on dear restaurants with her." She took some papers from the bag. "These are receipts of restaurants, hotels, and gifts that my husband bought for Helena, all paid for our family money. Money who should pay private school to my daughter, money that should pay our rent." Donna Maria took the papers and showed people in the first row. 300 reais at a dinner at Dom Pedro restaurant, 500 reais in a grocery store in CA, 200 reais in an intimate store lingerie. She looked at Helena. All this while, the legitimate wife worked cleaning home from others. Helena was getting desperate. "Roberto, say something. Defends us." Roberto, poor thing, was leaning against the altar, not knowing what to do. We can talk about it at home, Carla. No need to do this here in front of everyone." "At home?" my mother shouted. "Roberto, you marked your marriage to another woman." "Which house? The house was you going to expel me to live with her?" She turned to Helena. "By the way, Helena tells everyone what you told me about me having to look another place to live." "I never said that." "Lie." Sophia listened. "Sophia, tell everyone what Aunt Helena said." I took a deep breath. I was nervous, but I knew I had to speak. "Aunt Helena said that my mother had to look for another place to live because our house was always from the Santos family, and that my mother was just a temporary visitor." People were shocked. A lady in the third row spoke loudly. "What a non-green thing. How can you treat your sister-in-law like this?" Donna Maria took advantage of the cue. "And there is more. Helena, can you explain this conversation here?" She took the little recorder out of her bag and squeezed the play. Helena's voice came out clear. "Roberto finally found someone up to him. Much more elegant than first wife. Honey, that was a mistake of youth. Poor Roberto was fooled by an interior interest stick." The silence in the IGR Asia was sepulchral. Helena got white like a paper. Did you record me?" "I recorded. And filled too." My mother raised the camera. "I have everything here. You two confessing that you planned it. You both talk badly about me. You two mocking my face." Roberto tried one last card. "Carla, please, we can solve this. I was confused. Helena convinced me that—" "What did you convince me of?" my mother exploded. "Roberto, you are an adult man. No one forced you to betray me. No one forced you to lie to me. No one forced you to plan a wedding behind my back." She approached him. "Do you remember what you promised me when we married? Do you remember what you told me when Sophia was born? You are my family." "We are? So why are you here, dressed as a fiancé, trying to marry another woman?" Roberto could not answer. My mother turned to Helena. "And you, Helena, why did you do this to me? What did I do for you to hate me so much?" "I don't hate you, Carla." "Don't hate? So why did you spend 10 years humiliating me? Why did you treat me like I was rubbish? Why did you try to destroy my marriage?" Helena was silent. "Answer," my mother shouted. Because Roberto deserved better thing," Helena finally exploded. "He is an intelligent, handsome, hard-working man. He could have married any woman in our social class. But he fell in love with a, for one what, Helena? For a maid without study. Ready." She had spoken. The whole church was shocked. One of the guests got up. "Helena Santos, you should be ashamed. How can you talk about a mother of a family?" Other people began to speak out. "How absurd. How can you do this with your sister? In law. This is a crime. It's bigamy." Helena realized that she had lost control of the situation. "He tried to run. but Donna Maria held her by the arm. "Where are you going? Let me go. You haven't returned the dress yet." "What dress?" "The dress that stole from Carla." It was at this moment that my mother did the bravest thing I had ever seen in my life. She climbed on the altar, in front of everyone, and said loudly, "Helena, you spent 10 years trying to make me feel small, 10 years trying to convince me that I was no, 10 years making me lower my head." She took a deep breath. "But today I discovered one thing. I'm better than you, because I never tried to destroy anyone's happiness. I never tried to steal anyone's husband. And I would never wear another woman's wedding dress." The people began to applaud. "And you know why I'm better than you, Helena? Why? Because when this whole story is over, I will still have my daughter respecting me. I will still have my dignity. I will still be able to look at myself in the mirror." She pointed to Helena and Roberto. "You'll have to live with it for the rest of your life. You'll have to live knowing that everyone in this city knows what kind of person you are." Helena started to cry. "Carla, forgive me. I didn't want it to arrive at this point." "I didn't want to? Helena, you organized a wedding. What point did you think was going to arrive?" Roberto finally had the courage to speak. "Carla, I made a terrible mistake. Forgive me. We can try again. I can change." My mother looked at him for a long time. Then he looked at me. "Sophia, come here." I ran to her. She hugged me tight. "My little princess, Mom wants to ask you something." "Do you think we should forgive Daddy?" I looked at my father. "For Helena, for all that confusion. Mom, do you remember what you always told me? What the princesses win at the end?" "I remember. So you have won. You no longer need to be with people who are bad for you." My mother smiled. The first true smile I saw in months. "Roberto," she said, still hugging me, "I want divorce, and I want you to leave my house today. Carla, please." "There's no please, it's over." She turned to Helena. "And you, take my dress, now." Helena, defeated, went out to change clothes. When she returned with the dress in her hands, my mother took him and looked for a long time. Then, in front of everyone, she tore the dress in half. "Why?" someone asked. "Because this dress represented 10 years of lie. Now I'm going to start a new life." And it was at this moment that Helena tried the last blow. "Carla, do you think you will be able to raise this girl alone? No money, no study, no family? Roberto will go to court." The silence came back. My mother squeezed me stronger, but this time she was smiling. "Helena, let me tell you something you never knew about me. Helena, let me tell you something you never knew about me." My mother released my hand and walked to the center of the altar. The whole church was absolutely silent, waiting. "Over the past 3 years since you started humiliating me, I've made a decision. Every night, after working on cleaning others, after taking care of Sophia, after holding on her offenses, I studied." Helena frowned, confused. "What did you study, Carla?" "Right." The silence got even heavier. "That's right, for distance learning. I worked in the day, I took care of my family in the afternoon, and studied at dawn. I spent 3 years killing myself to study." She took a roll from the bag. "And 2 weeks ago, I graduated. I'm officially qualified to exercise law." The whole church exploded in murmurs. Helena got white. "You're lying." "Am I lying?" My mother showed the diploma. "Carla Silva Santos, Bachelor of Law, specialization in family law." Donna Maria smiled proudly. "And you know what was the theme of my monograph, Helena? Parental alienation and child protection in cases of marital infidelity." Roberto tried to say something, but my mother continued. "So when you threaten me to get my daughter's guard, you are threatening a lawyer who has all the evidence of her father's betrayal, a lawyer who has recordings, photos, receipts, and witnesses." She turned to Roberto. "Roberto, do you want to try to get Sophia's guard out of me? Great. Let's go to court. I will present all the evidence that you spent family money with another woman. I will show that you tried to commit bigamy. I will prove that you and Helena conspired against me for months." Her voice was firm, determined, completely different from the scared woman I knew. "And more. I will sue you two for moral damages, parental alienation, by attempted bigamy, and Helena," she looked straight into her aunt's eyes, "for slander, defamation, and injury." Helena began to tremble. "Carla, you can't do that." "I can't." "Helena, you spent years calling me ignorant, without study." My mother smiled. "Well, now the ignorant without study will sue you and win." Donna Maria approached Helena with a folder in her hand. "Mrs. Helena, here is the quote. You are being sued by Carla Silva Santos for the crimes of slander, defamation, injury, and attempted induction of the crime of bigamy." "This is ridiculous. You can't sue me." "Yes, we can." My mother opened the folder and took several papers. "I have 3 years here of notes about every humiliation you made me pass. Dates, times, witnesses. I have recording of you calling me self-interested. I have a picture of you wearing my dress. I have proof that you tried to convince me that Roberto didn't love me anymore." She turned to the guests. and you are all witnesses that Helena Santos tried to marry a married man, wearing the wedding dress of his legitimate wife. A lady in the first row rose. I saw everything. This woman is really a shame. Other people began to speak out. How absurd. How can you do this with your sister-in-law? Carla is right, you really have to sue. Helena realized that she had completely lost. Tried one last card. Roberto, say something. You won't let her sue me. Roberto, who had been silent throughout the exhibition, finally said, Helena, I think you went too far. What do you mean I went too far? She shouted. You were with me in everything. You said you wanted to get rid of it. You who said she was a weight in your life. Helena, shut up. Roberto tried to make her stop, but it was too late. I'm not going to shut up. If I'm going to screw me, you'll go together. Tell everyone how you complained about Carla, how you said you regretted getting married to her. Like you, he arrives, Roberto shouted. But Donna Maria was recording everything. Perfect, said my mother calmly. Another confession to join the process. Helena realized what she had done. It started to cry desperately. Carla, forgive me. I was jealous. I was always jealous of you. Jealousy? From me? Yeah, you got what I never got. A husband who really loved you. A family. A wonderful daughter. Helena looked at me. I divorced myself after 2 years because my ex-husband betrayed me. I never got children. I could never be happy. Her tears seemed sincere, but my mother didn't go up. Helena, I understand your pain, but that doesn't justify what you did. For 3 years you tried to destroy my family because of your personal frustration. I know I made a mistake. Wrong? Helena, you organized a wedding. You stole me, lied to me, humiliated my daughter, tried to kick me out of my own home. My mother took a deep breath. But you know of one thing? I have to thank you. To thank? Yeah, because it was your wickedness that gave me the strength to become a better person. It was your contempt that made me go back to study. It was your cruelty that made me find out who I really am. She looked at Roberto. And you, Roberto, you did me a favor too. Like this? You showed me that I don't need a man who doesn't value me. I'm able to take care of our daughter alone. I'm stronger than I imagined. Roberto lowered his head, embarrassed. Carla, you don't have to say anything. You already said too much. My mother took my hand. Sophia, let's go. We have a new life to build. When we arrived at the church door, Helena shouted, Carla, what if I tell everyone that you are just a maid? What if I spread that you came from inside with nothing? My mother stopped, turned slowly and smiled. Helena, you can tell the whole world. I am very proud of my origin. I am proud to have worked hard to support my family. I am proud to have cleared houses to pay my studies. She lifted the diploma. And now I'm a graduate lawyer who came from the countryside, and I'll use everything I've learned to defend other women who go through what I've been through. The people in the church began to applaud. Applaud my mother. Carla! 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 We left the church under applause. 3 months later, I was in college when I received a call from my mother. Sophia, I have news. What is it, mother? I won the process. Helena will have to pay me 50,000 reais of moral damages. Really? And Dad? Your father signed all the divorce papers. He contested nothing. I think he finally understood the bullshit he did. And Aunt Helena? Helena, well, she lost several store customers when the story has spread. She's financial difficulties. But do you know something? What? I don't feel angry at her anymore. I feel is a pity. Pity? Yeah, she must be very alone now. She lost her brother, lost her reputation, lost her friends. Sometimes I think she punished herself more than any court could punish. This is my mother. Even after all, you can still feel compassion. 2 years later, my mother opened her own law firm, Silva Santos Advocacy, specializing in family law and women's defense. The office is in a small room in the city center, but she mainly serves women who have no money to pay expensive lawyer, women like she was before. Roberto tried to reconcile several times. He sent flowers, called apologizing, appeared at the door of our new apartment. Yes, we left the Santos family house, but my mother was irreducible. Sophia, your father can be a good man in the background, but he made choices, and choices have consequences. Helena moved to another city. I heard that he closed the store and went to work in an accounting company. We never had contact. Today, 12 years later, I'm here, at 22, telling this story because I want other girls to know. Mothers are warriors, even when they seem fragile, even when they cry hidden, even when they can handle humiliation in silence. They are stronger than anyone imagines. My mother taught me that no matter where you come from, it doesn't matter if you are poor, if you have no study, if people belittle you. What matters is its inner strength, your determination, your ability to reinvent yourself. Today, she is 45 years old, has her own office, has helped hundreds of women to break free from abusive relationships. And do you know the most beautiful of everything? She is dating. He is a widowed gentleman who met in court. He is a retired judge, has 3 grown children, and treats my mother like a queen, the way she always deserved to be treated. The other day I asked her, "Mom, do you regret anything?" "What, my love?" "To have endured so much humiliation. Not to expose Helena before. Having lost so much time from her life." She was thoughtful. "Sophia, if I hadn't been through all that, I wouldn't be who I am today. I wouldn't know how to recognize the pain of other women. I would not have the strength to help them." She hugged me. "And more importantly, if everything had not happened exactly as it happened, you might not have learned to defend yourself. You may not have seen a woman may be stronger than she imagines herself. And truth. Today I study right too. I will graduate next year, and I intend to work with my mother, defending other families, because I learned something in that church. When you see an injustice, you have two options. You can lower your head and accept, or you can get up and fight." She dressed in white, thought she would take my mother's place, but I saw everything, and I exposed her on the altar. And it was the best thing I did in my life. Because sometimes, to save a family, a child must have the courage to face adults. And sometimes, for a woman to find herself strong, she needs to be tested by fire. My mother passed the test, and I am very proud of her.